This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Tuesday, the 17th of December, 2024. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is news to 6 a.m. on News Power Digital. Tributes continue to pour in on the life, accomplishments, and impact of the late government minister Lisa Morris-Julian and the public and the parliament and other aspects of her life in various capacities. The former Dabadi O'Meara, a member of parliament, lost her life and her two children in a fire which took place early yesterday morning at her Farfan Street home in Arima. An update from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service confirmed that an investigation has been launched into the fire that claimed the lives of Morris-Julian and her two children, ages 25 and 6 years old. Senior Superintendent Maynard Wilson said fire attendants and police personnel responded to reports of a fire at the residence from as early as before 6 in the morning. Meanwhile, Commissioner of Police Early Herod Christopher is assuring the nation that once the TTPS gets more information on this development, which can be shared with the public, this will be done. Minister in the Ministry of National Security Keith Scotland, who sat next to Morris-Julian for the past 4 years in the Parliament, reflected on the life of his former colleague and friend. Scotland said the death of MP Morris-Julian and her children has affected him, and he is still coming to terms with this tragic passing. He said his children and those belonging to his former MP shared a close bond, and he even recalled the light moment he shared with her during a telephone conversation just this past Sunday. And former Arima Mayor and Secretary General of PNM Ashton Ford spoke with members of the media yesterday, Monday. He said he's awaiting the probe to be completed to get the facts surrounding the incident. Meanwhile, the United National Congress said it's shocked and saddened to learn of the tragic deaths of MP Lisa Morris-Julian and her children. The party's leader, Kamala Prasad-Bissessa, posted a message to social media following the deaths and said, quote, "The nation awoke to the horrific news of the tragic passing of MP Lisa Morris-Julian and her two relatives early this morning. As a colleague and as a Trinbagonian, I join with the national community in offering my prayers and condolences to the family and friends of Lisa and her relatives. It's my sincere wish that all those lives who were touched by Lisa and her relatives find comfort and strength at this most difficult time," end quote. As investigations continue into the cause of yesterday's blaze, which took the lives of the MP for Dabadi O'Meara and the two children in Arima, the public wants the fire officials to account for their response time, as they believe the tragedy could have been avoided. Speaking with reporters feet away from where the incident occurred yesterday, former PNM General Secretary Ashton Ford lamented the fire station is not even a block away. Pressed about concerns that fire officers failed to respond in a timely manner, he claimed, "I don't have a clue about the response time. I do know that they were not here in time." In a release yesterday, a corporate communications unit of the TTFS sought to clarify the misinformation circulating in the public domain. The release said, quote, "At the time of the incident, the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service received an emergency call. However, the nearest fire station in Arima was engaged in an industrial fire, and the Tunapuna Fire Station was simultaneously responding to another house fire. Both crews arrived at the Farfan Street house as quickly as possible and worked diligently to extinguish the blaze. Upon arrival, a request was made for additional water supply due to a lack of water in the area." Meantime, Public Utilities Minister Marvin Gonzalez is refuting claims that there was a water shortage in the area during the fire that took the lives of the government minister, a member of Parliament Lisa Morris-Julian, and her children. The claim was made by the TT Fire Service. Minister Gonzalez says that he wanted to clarify that at no point during the incident was there a lack of water pressure or availability of water in general. He said the facts are as follows. The Hollis system, which supplies water to Farfan Street, was ramped up to full production several days prior. He also said at 4:30 a.m., the Water and Sewage Authority was alerted to a fire within the heart of Arima along Farfan Street, and immediate action was taken to divert water supply via the Subaru Street booster. Another source of the Guanapo water treatment was also used as an auxiliary water supply for the fire services. UWI political scientist Dr. Bishnu Ragoobarsingh said the death of PNM Dabadi O'Meara MP Lisa Morris-Julian yesterday does not mean there will be a by-election in Dabadi O'Meara. Ragoobarsingh said that the PNM's majority in Parliament was not threatened, nor should the MP's passing affect the time within which the Prime Minister calls the next general election. In an interview, Ragoobarsingh said there will be no by-election at this point, We've entered the 50th of the parliamentary term, and we cannot have a by-election in the 5th year, he added. This is outlined in law. On to other news. Zahir Khan, who was abducted from his home in Valsale on December 14th, has been rescued. This follows what had been described as a strategic intelligence-based operation by the police, which unfolded within the early hours of yesterday, following a late-night meeting held by Commissioner of Police Early Herod Christopher and Deputy Commissioner Suzette Martin and Junior Benjamin and ACP Richard Smith on Sunday. The exercise was conducted in a remote hilly area of Grenada Street, Caledonia, known as Egypt, where officers conducted a search of abandoned structures. At around 5:20 a.m., they alerted by faint cries emanating from a wooden galvanized structure in the area. Upon checking, Mr. Khan was discovered alive and well. He was taken for medical attention and later reunited with his family. The investigations into the kidnapping are continuing. Finally, Iran's National Council has paused the implementation of the controversial hijab and chastity law, which was due to come into force on Friday. President Masoud Pezeshkian called the legislation ambiguous and in need of reform, signaling his intention to reassess its measures. The proposed new law, which would introduce harsher punishments for women and girls for exposing their hair, forearms, and lower legs, had been heavily criticized by human rights activists around the world. And that is news to 6 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news coming your way at 7 a.m. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Good morning and neighbors, the 17th day of December. Thank you so much for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show on Power 102 Digital. Full casting this morning, you know, from Dr. Paul Richards. We'll hear from Wendell Stephen, Richard Ragoobarsingh. We got Shane and Ruben in the mix. Of course, my name is Steve Khan. All right, 25 degrees on both islands, Piarco International Airport and Crown Point in Tobago. And the Met Office is saying today is going to be fair to partly cloudy with occasional light to moderate showers and a low to medium 30 to 40% chance of the heavier shower or thunderstorm developing in a few areas. It was raining in Grandy a while ago, got some pitter-patters in Waterfield, so we'll get that. All right. Traffic-wise, I got nothing to tell you about. Nothing. Highways are clear. All right. Good morning to you, Paul.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone.
Morning, man. What's happening? What's happening?
I think the country is still recovering from that horrible situation yesterday.
Yeah, it was a heavy day yesterday. Heavy. You know, it's quite sad.
It's a very, very difficult day.
Of course, condolences to her family, her friends, and to the People's National Movement as well.
And it's just an extremely difficult time for this country. Yeah. Yesterday, the country was really hit hard by that situation yesterday involving the untimely death of MP for Dabadi, Omera, Lisa Morris Julian, and two of her children at that fire in Farfar Street in Arima. It's just extremely, extremely heartbreaking. So information is sketchy, but the police are investigating, the fire services are investigating, and hopefully we'll get some definitive information coming up soon enough.
Yeah. Well, the fire services said there was an industrial fire in Arima. Turupuna station is saying they had another fire somewhere else. That's why they took long.
Well, there's a lot of
and the water
and blame game going on now.
Yeah. It will always be a blame game. But as usual, we hear about the water problems.
Well, the minister, the fire services sent out a release yesterday indicating that they were seeking additional, well, in addition to what you said, they had an industrial blaze where the Arima Fire Service was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And Tunapuna was also dealing with a house fire. And they had to seek additional water. Well, the Minister of Public Utilities is refuting that and saying that is not the case. That there was adequate supply, that water was diverted from 2 different sources, and there was adequate supply of water in the for that situation. So there we go.
Yeah, we'll call him later on.
You know, sorry.
We'll call the minister later on.
Well, I don't think he's saying anything different to what he said in the release, but the investigation is continuing into, first of all, the fire, the cause of the fire, and secondly, about the response to the fire by the fire services.
Mm-hmm.
If there were challenges, and if indeed there was a water and all of that. So that's of course the horrible fire yesterday that broke out. You're hearing a lot of speculation about the cause, but the Commissioner of Police, who was on the scene yesterday, indicated that she didn't want to speculate, and that in due course, when the investigation is complete and when information is available that can be shared, that information will be shared with the general public. So it was good to see her on site yesterday, although she received some criticism for that also, which, you know how it goes. People are in shock and in grief. So people are saying all sorts of horrible things on the internet, which I can't understand in a time like this. Why people are politicizing such a horrible tragedy. And in the most nasty and vitriolic way, people are politicizing and making the nastiest of comments about situation. And
I couldn't believe that, oh Lord.
And this is, of course, to me, in deep grief yesterday. In deep grief. Literally almost collapsing.
And she was at the function on Saturday as well. Morning, Wendell.
Hi, guys. Good morning, Steve. Morning, Paul. Morning, Richard. Morning, Trinidad.
Good morning, Wendell. Yeah. So the kind of vitriol and nastiness I'm seeing on the internet, we really have a really ugly underbelly in this country, you know.
Yeah, boy.
We have an ugly,
Well said, Paul.
ugly underbelly in this country, and every opportunity. Well, I always say, what's inside of people will come out eventually. It doesn't matter what the catalyst is. If you have nastiness in you, no matter what happens, Jesus Christ could come down from heaven, the nastiness will come out. So in this tragic situation, which literally plunged most, if not all, the country into deep sadness and mourning yesterday, people had to take the opportunity to, 1, politicize, and 2, make the most horrid and nasty comments. So again, condolences to Mrs. Morris Julian's family. Her husband is recuperating at
Mount Hope.
And a relative, actually, and him and a relative are recuperating at Mount Hope. And to her colleagues in the parliament, and in particular the People's National Movement and the wider national community, because I saw people, on the other hand, I saw a lot of love and support. So it was, I wouldn't say it was balanced, but there was a lot of love and support. People who said they didn't even know her cried yesterday because of how tragic the situation was. But I mean, that's against the backdrop of the nasty people who just took the opportunity to just let their ugliness rain out yesterday. And
people, I guess it's a bunch of people who see it as another reason to politicize it and another reason to promote their
I don't think it's
agenda.
politics as much as just nasty people, Wendell. It's nasty people. It's just nasty people. It's ugly, nasty people who, it doesn't matter what happens, they turn it into an ugly, nasty statement for themselves. I don't know what they think they gain from it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know what they think they gain from it.
Well, good luck to them. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that Lisa was very well loved.
Clearly, yeah,
A
let's see
lot,
across the
and
aisle.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And the
and she
amount of
had,
people that posted pictures with Lisa
yeah,
at various events too.
Because
yeah,
she was a
yeah,
people person. She was never the
Yeah.
type to cloister herself or think she had arrived, you understand, by being a parliamentarian.
mm,
She was a people person.
yep,
And she loved her children and children in general. That's what I
yes,
love her. You know, I
yeah,
remember we attended a conference in Halifax about 2 years ago, and we hung out for a bit on the off days, and all she spoke about was her children
mm,
and the children of Arima and Dabadi and this country, and that is where her heart lay. I guess she got it. That's why she got into teaching
yeah,
and education, and she just saw. I remember she articulated to me, everything she does is because she sees hope for the future of this country and children.
yeah.
That was her life ethos, you know, and she lived it every day. And you know,
One of the examples I took from yesterday was, regardless of how good you live your life, you know what I mean, and the good things you do, you really have no control over how you leave this earthly sphere,
no,
you know. Absolutely no control, you know, because if you had a chance to discuss death with Lisa or anybody else, they would never tell you about that type of death, you know. They would never envision that is the way, you know, and then people who died in horrific accidents and so on, you know. For people who are on their sick bed, you know, they expect a certain type of death, you know, and death can only be controlled by yourself, really, at the end of the day. You have no control over it. You understand? For those people who, that's this man calling. Yeah, for those people who think that they can control it, you really can't.
you really can't.
And
You know, not the
it was
hour or the time.
none. You know nothing about how you would.
You could be a billionaire. You could
Mhm.
have 5 cents in your name or no money.
Yeah.
You have no control over death in most instances.
Absolutely none. Absolutely none. And it was it was just so sad getting that news yesterday and finding out it was true. You know, it was kind of surreal, unbelievable. You know, not
And,
Lisa.
and that's why the information had to be treated with such sensitivity,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you don't want to divulge or broadcast or publish that sort of information. One, I always say, I think of the immediate family, because she has family who don't live with her,
yeah,
who do not live with her.
Correct.
yeah.
And would you want to be tuning on the radio or the television and hearing about, and not only that she's passed there, but the way she's passed?
The way she has,
Yeah. So you have to be sensitive with the information and how you divulge information. You don't want to just jump on the air and just say things and you have no confirmation. You really have no information past what you heard.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And that's not the way it's done. That's not
Yeah.
the way it's done. That's not the way it should be done.
Yeah.
And the people who will call you information, would you like information about your family that you don't know about to reach you in that way?
Yeah.
No, you don't. You want a level of decency and dignity and sensitivity in the way the information is handled.
Yeah.
And I mean, I will not even, I stand by how we handled it yesterday.
Yeah. No, yeah. We
And,
had no choice. We really had no
You did the
choice.
proper thing.
but
We really had
it's
no
really
choice.
the nation is in mourning. I think
Yeah.
I can safely say the nation is in mourning.
Oh yes, for sure.
This is not a political entity issue. This is somebody who serves her country wonderfully, was a good person, and she and her children died under extremely horrific circumstances.
Yeah, that family will never be the same again.
Never.
No, she's one of those people that she's a glue in the family.
Yeah, never be the same again.
You know,
Yesterday, Richard and I too were talking, and you know, almost every morning, night into morning, we have had pouring rain in Arima, except last night. Except that night into morning, because I got up this morning and there's pouring rain again in Arima. You know, and that particular night, Sunday into Monday, had no rain. The rains came later on in the day, but there was no rain. So you wonder, you ask that question all the time about God and his plan for us.
Well, the back and forth now between the fire services and the Ministry of Public Utilities is going to be quite interesting in terms of what turns out to be accurate.
Well, I think every fire we get the same thing, this back and forth,
No.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Every fire, especially a fire that is tragic, we get this back and forth.
Well, according to the reports, the fire station is not even a block away from her home.
No, it's right around the corner.
Yeah. So, but they were clearly engaged, according to the report, in some industrial fire and Tulip, which the other one, which would be the Tulip, or the other major fire station, which would be the Tulip fire station, was also engaged in dealing with a house fire. So.
I actually had thought that one time that fire station had closed down.
Really?
Because I pass there regularly. I had thought that fire station had closed down at one time also. But, Richard will give a little more inside information on that particular information in terms of the fire station and so on. Because Richard also lives right around the corner from it,
The Prime Minister, to his credit, was up there within minutes.
Yeah.
And followed closely by, I do think they were the cabinet colleagues missing, or fellow MPs.
Yeah.
Again, it's just a very, very difficult time. If we could say there's good news this morning, Mr. Zahir Khan has been rescued.
Yeah.
All right.
Kudos to the TTPS.
Yeah.
Kudos to the TTPS. And funny thing, they went to that Egypt village, and it's only when they saw, from what I read, the police vehicle, they saw some guys running. One guy dropped an AK-47 with over 100 rounds of ammunition in it. What? But kudos to the TTPS.
He dropped an AK-47, man.
Yeah. While he was running, it fell, and it's like, geez, and ages.
A body cam captured that photo, that image, that video.
One would think.
They went without body cams?
I have no idea. But kudos to the TPS. Well done. It's quite what you doing 100 and something rounds.
Let me see if I have birthdays, because you see all them haters, especially on these television sites, CCN, TV6. They have a bunch of people on those sites. I don't know. No? I don't even know why they allow those comments. I would delete those comments if I were in charge of a page like that. I will not allow those comments to be broadcast. But they leave them, and you know me. Thankfully not much came up on my feed, but for people who shared, I deleted one person yesterday. As a matter of fact, he sometimes comments on our show. I deleted him. I unfriended him yesterday, immediately upon seeing what he put up. You understand?
My computer just decided to reboot itself just like that.
I was wondering where you went.
What trouble is this, just so?
Yeah. Let's say happy birthday going on to Terry and Abdul Sanka. She used to work here at one point, so happy birthday.
Who did you delete, Wendell?
He comments on the show sometimes.
Who's that?
I won't say his name. I'll send it to you privately. But
and happy birthday, my good
time
friend.
I see what he put up, I deleted him immediately. I unfriended him immediately. You can't put up things like that.
Yeah, I saw the most, as I said, I saw more love than hate. Let's start with that.
I did.
The hate was so distasteful that,
Yeah. Because I think Lisa must have taken a picture with everybody. The amount of pictures I see of people with Lisa.
Yeah, I saw that.
She looks like she took a picture with everybody, Right. So here are my birthdays: Louisa Hospitalis, Dale Allen, Anne Williams, Anne is from St. James, Intaf Juman, Tioka, Ariel Ainka Dove. She posts regularly on Facebook. They are all celebrating their birthdays today, December 17th. All right. So happy birthday to you all. Let me go WhatsApp.
Did you all see the there will be no by-election in the constituency, by the way, because according to political scientist Dr. Vishnu Raghunath, we are in the fifth
within
year
a year.
cycle, and within the year there's no need, according to law, for a by-election to be held.
Yes, you can't.
So the government has the option to appoint a caretaker MP unofficially, just to see the needs of the constituents.
Yeah.
So
strange enough, this is the second time this is happening in WMera. The first occasion wasn't a death; it was the resignation of Anil Roberts within the last year of his term, and now Lisa has died. So this is the second time actually in WMera. That they would have to have a caretaker MP, and wait until the election. I sent the name for you, Paul.
Did you see the video of the police commissioner reading stories?
Yeah, I sent it for you, didn't I? But I was trying to share it from Facebook and I couldn't.
No, I deleted it long then.
And then Jaron saw it. Jaron sent it for me. I said,
I delete the individual long time. That individual is despicable. He's been despicable for a long while.
For a long time.
He's been despicable for a long time. So I would not have seen anything he posted because he's a despicable individual. Crass and classless.
I give people the benefit. I leave people sometimes, but yesterday after that kind of news, I said no.
Your posts and your utterances speak to who you are. So there's some people that when you're that kind of person, I'm not going to. I know we're not going to say who it is on here. The video of the commissioner of police sitting, reading stories. Sometimes I wonder who advised these people. Who would be the advisor?
I wonder myself.
If I were her advisor, I would say this is not the time for you to do that.
No, not at all. And release
right?
it.
This is not the time when the service that you lead is underperforming so much, and for people don't see it at all. Yesterday was like an odd situation, and it's because, of course, if the Prime Minister, the Minister of National Security, you better get it. You better find yourself there. You understand? Good morning, Richard.
Hi, good morning, guys, and good morning to our listeners, wherever you are.
Madam Commissioner ended up on the scene of the fire yesterday. No problems with that. But people were asking, what about other situations? One, and then this video of you reading stories, as they say, while Rome burns.
I didn't understand that video. I didn't understand the purpose behind it.
No, somebody that clearly wasn't a TTPS production. It was, I think, it's either Nalis or TTT or a combination of those, you understand? Of prominent people reading stories, which is a good idea. But in these times, when you don't see or hear from the commissioner very often, to see her pop up in a video reading stories is a little much for me to take.
Maybe you should play it a little bit because I don't think anybody have a clue what we're talking about.
Let me see if I could find it.
Yeah. And we a suggestion came from one of our callers that we open up the lines for people to pay tribute.
Absolutely. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
What you're talking about, her reading the story?
Yes. You saw it?
Oh, that was a celebrities reading.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's not really
it's part of a series, I think. Celebrities read a story or something like that.
Yeah, you read one?
No, I'm not a celebrity.
I'm talking about not seeing somebody who is supposed to be seeing a lot more, and then all of a sudden they pop up reading a story. I mean, really.
You don't give interviews at all. You understand? You barely say much, and then you pop up reading a story.
I don't have a problem with her doing it, actually.
Okay. I don't have a problem.
Anything that encourages reading and literature and children, I give you a free pass. I have no issue.
I generally don't have a problem with it either. But it's just that for this to show up just like that, in the midst of all what's going on, and in the midst of all the criticism being leveled your way,
In the midst of your general absence, that's the issue. Right, I'll find it. In the midst of your general absence from media and communication, just
Well, I mean,
finally shape up reading stories.
but she's not in control of where that goes. She would have
think
been
it was-
asked.
I think
She
it
would have
was
been
like-
asked to read a story and geared towards children.
And she
and
should say no.
Why she should say no?
I'm just being facetious.
Yeah, I don't know. I had no issue with it.
My issue is do that, but come before the public and do what you're supposed to do also. Okay?
Well, I mean, her media presence, yes, that can be criticized.
That's my issue. Not the story
But-
itself, but
but
juxtaposing the fact that you don't see her at all, you barely see her at all.
Yeah, but her reading the story didn't bother me
In
in terms of that.
principle, there's nothing wrong with her reading a story.
Richard, I get a message here. I won't identify the person about your mayor. I will send it for you. Because we shared that sentiment yesterday. We shared a similar sentiment yesterday. I don't know.
He was very present yesterday.
Well, present, he was literally worming his way through to get in front of the camera.
Is that what he was doing?
That's how it looked like to me.
Well, I was just glad to see he could get up early. I was wondering if he could actually get up early. Because, I mean, you don't really see him out that much. Just saying. So I said, okay, when he can get up early, okay, that's good. Maybe you can get a meeting with him now.
Well, that is Richard how to do that, yes. Richard is your Rima, man. Yeah, I don't know how long I could be living in Rima for again.
You want to share?
I don't know how long I'll be living in Trinidad again for.
I was expecting that line next.
We'll see, only giving me the opportunity now more than ever. Corners.
No, Wendell, don't.
Has there been any further clarification on what caused the fire and stuff like that?
No.
There's a back and forth now about water.
There was no water.
Not
There was a
enough.
problem. Remember, all that forms part of Central Arima, which I always discuss this.
Always. Which I said we wait on you to talk more about it.
The central city of Arima is problematic for water for generations. And it is amazing that a town that's so important because it's beyond being the oldest chartered borough in the Western Hemisphere, you're now probably the fourth largest city because you were the third for a lot of your thing until Shogunas overtook with so many housing estates. And so Shogunas is probably the third now, without having all of the actual census data. But I will say that Shogunas is probably, but probably the first in terms of population size. That the city center of Arima, you have water trucks stopping to drop water, as I've always said, at restaurants and stuff, because of the situation of water in Arima, because a lot of central Arima is served by Guanapo. Not only Guanapo, but a lot of the city center is Guanapo.
Yes.
And Guanapo has been, it's a trial. I know the minister had indicated that there is an IDB project, and I'd had some exchange of WhatsApp with him about it. And there's an IDB project that's on way right now in terms of that Guanapo plant to get to some level of, if not 24/7, certainly close to 24/7, which I said would be amazing because as a generationally, that has never been the problem in the actual city center of Arima. We've never had 24/7. So feeding into that, a fire in that area, in the areas, can create a problem.
Yes.
Because there's likely not going to be, well, depending on the day of the week, you may or may not have water in the line.
Yeah.
And
Richard, if I'm not mistaken, did not fire station at one time didn't appear closed down to you?
it was closed down at one point. Remember, at one
Yes.
point they moved the fire station to O'Mara.
Down the bottom of O'Mara Road, not so?
Right, they moved it to O'Mara.
I know I wasn't wrong.
And there was a certain amount of pushback, and it came back to Green Street where it is now. Ideally, Arima needs 2 fire stations, which I told Wendell yesterday. You need an Arima North fire station and you need an Arima South fire station. And they should probably both have 2 tenders. And I get it. The state will say, well, you're not always fighting fires. Why you need 2 tenders, which is probably the justification that people make. I don't know. I know what the arguments are. This is not my field. But ultimately, that's what you need. Because O'Mara South, Arima South, in my opinion, is dealing with Santa Rosa, La Joqueta, Greenvale, San Rafael, Brazil. You're dealing with all of those places in Arima South. Arima North, of course, is dealing with all of Central Arima, going up to Calvary, Mount Pleasant, going up into those areas, which, of course, is highly populated. So you really need 2 fire stations. Now, Tumpuna, I get it that La Joqueta and Santa Rosa and all of those are Tunapuna Piaco, but fire, to me, you need to separate it. So you need 2 fire. You need 2 fire stations, in my opinion, Arima North and Arima South. I'm not a fire expert. I'm sure people may say statistically or whatever. I don't know what the figures are, how many fire stations you need per head of population or per capita. I don't know. This is just my opinion as a layman, not knowing about fire statistics, that you need 2.
Yeah,
you need some level of sophistication with regard to fire hydrants. Because you have fire hydrants in Arima, maybe here and there, but it's certainly, as you start to go up towards Calvary, fire hydrants disappear. There may be 1 or 2 in the city center, I think, but as you start to come up, move up and move down, they disappear. And which, of course, leads to the issue of water. I'm not getting into the time that the fire arrived. I don't know what time they arrived. Because some people, I heard there was an Arima group live last night where people were discussing it. And I happened to come upon that live feed in, was it TikTok or YouTube streams or something like that? And one of the woman was there, and she said she was there when she said the fire service took at least 30 minutes to get there.
Well, it was 11. They said 11 minutes on the news.
They're saying 11 minutes, but she's saying it was not 11 minutes. She said it was 30 minutes at least. And I suppose if any good can come out of the horrible tragedy of the situation is the prioritizing of human life, and that no human life in Trinidad and Tobago should be lost to fires again.
Yeah.
And revisiting what kind of resources the fire services need to make sure that they can competently deal with fires, including the issue of fire hydrants, including the issue of water, that if it is that an area does not have water at the point that a fire occurs, that somehow there is some mechanism that WASA gets involved that starts sending water to that area somehow as part of the mechanism. I don't know what it is. They had to sit down and work it out, but human life should be more important than all of these logistical issues that are inefficient because of man-made bureaucracy and allocation of resources.
Can we open the phones?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. We got some callers coming through already, so let's grab them. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Steve.
Morning.
Good morning, Dr. Paul. Good morning, Wendell. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, Ms. Val.
You know, after yesterday morning, I was myself, for the whole day. I couldn't eat. I just couldn't eat. Every time I tried to take breakfast, I can't do it. Because that shock had me feeling chilly all day. I couldn't get over myself at all. And then when I started seeing some videos and all that, make it worse. One of the videos I didn't appreciate was the one I saw with Camille Robinson Regis. When she was in mourning, she was totally, So, I don't know what word to use. I found that should not have been posted. To tell you the truth, that's what I found there, because, just seeing that alone, kind of give me the chills. And I know
unfortunately, the videos like that are circulated all over the world. You see it whenever you watch international news. You see videos like that. It's unfortunate. It was Camille in her Roy's most vulnerable moment.
Yeah,
Yes.
I find it was so insensitive. And just a week and a half, I spoke to Miss Julian. I sent her one of my flyers for my business, what I'm doing for the holidays and so on. Just like what you got, Wendell.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell her to do anything, to share it or anything. And she shared it with people who I don't even know, because they called me, and they told me, look, I got this from Miss Julian, and Miss Julian Morris, and she told me, go ahead, everything's be good by her, all it fixed up, support her and so on. And I said, serious? I said, what? And when these people called me and about that, I said, well, I didn't even tell Miss Morris to do that, you know what I mean? And yes, one of those ladies spoke with me, one of those ladies called me and asked me how I doing. And she was even worse off than me. I couldn't even speak. And she said she just not existing right now. She was just speaking to me. Yeah. And then when my daughter knew one of her daughters from convent, and my daughter got up so early. She didn't even get up early when it's holidays. And she was, what are you in here? I said, girl, this, and the nice thing about it, I did not see any bad comments about her. Everything was, I don't know about what you all see, but some of the things, most of the things I said, there
were no bad comments about Lisa herself, eh?
Right. Everybody was pouring out love to her. And oh my goodness, the amount of condolences you could get could take away something how I feel now. And the first, as I say, I did not know her before 2020. But during the election, and I tell you, I am not any political activist or anything, but she called me in 2020 to tell me that somebody recommended me to take her around the area because I know everybody. And I said, what? Yeah. And I was like shocked, but since that day, I don't know, she's a really nice person. Very soft.
She was
very
indeed.
listening, so what? Anyway, condolences, whatever that condolence could do to people, the feeling they have now, it's something else overbearing for me now.
Yeah. All righty.
Anyway, have a good day. Thanks.
Thank you. Good morning.
Condolences.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning. I like to eat the meat and not the bone. I have a couple of questions that I would like to ask and I'd like the authorities to investigate. I heard somebody tell me that the mayor already asked the question and suggested that they're going to do some investigation. Could anyone tell me where this other alleged fire was that the fire services was attending? 1. 2. I grew up under television, and television has forged my impression of how things are supposed to be to a certain extent. And I grew up watching Chips and Poncharello and Chips and there was a fire program long time. I don't remember what was the name of it. But in that time, and on those shows, there would be a fire going on, and there would be another fire going on that is happening, and there would be another appliance in the fire station to respond to that other fire. And for it to be revealed now that we are in such a bad state that if one fire happened in this country, and there's 2 fires happening in this country at the same time, we don't have the resources to respond to 2 fires simultaneously from one fire station. There's a woman who does always advocate for fire services. I don't remember her name. She does have a political agenda, I would imagine, but she has proven to be so right now with the allegations that she has been making. She has been advocating for fire appliances and tenders and things for years. And here we see now that she has proven to be, it has been proven to be correct. I would certainly like to find out where this other fire was, because I heard nothing of another fire in Arima or in the environs. And I'm curious for this where this investigation goes as to this alleged other fire.
Okay.
At the same time, I extend my condolences to the family of the deceased, and Godspeed with them. Right? I will call back if I have any other contribution. Have a good day, gentlemen.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Have a great one yourself. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, stranger, what's happening?
Morning, Cindy.
I want to express some condolences because Miss Lisa Morris Julian was my neighbor as a child. We played as children. She born the 5th of October, if I'm mistaken. I'm the 7th. Her grandmother, Miss Carmen Purcell, was my mother. So we grew up together, and she's such a sweet, sweet person. I know the entire family, and I know they under real pain this morning. Right? But
You're breaking up badly, Cindy.
say a prayer for them, Wendell.
Yeah. I know the family too. I know James let loose.
I was my neighbor.
James, who is our uncle, let loose on Facebook yesterday at some people, boy, because like he couldn't take it no more. Boy. But
Yeah.
James and Lisa were very close. Yeah.
Very close, and then she have her aunt Bubbles and them. But it's some grief, some real grief.
Yeah.
Right? But,
All right, Cindy.
all right, then.
All right. All the best to you, Cindy.
Same
Take
to
care.
you.
All righty. Rich, do you have the newspapers by chance?
No, I don't.
Boy.
I just have the Guardian.
Okay.
It's Tuesday, the 17th of December. Let's start with the Express Online. The front page of the Express is Morning Lisa. TNT wakes up to shocking news of deaths of MP and minister and 2 children house fire. PM, one of the saddest days in my life. Rowley, PNM grieve Lisa Morris Julian, and of course, probe on into the blaze. Politicians across the aisle are in mourning over the untimely death of Lisa Morris Julian and her children. Valsine dad rescued by police. Tributes for Lisa. There was no water shortage. Fire services told to retract claim. Boy 2 drowns in swimming pool. Kidnapped dad has been rescued, and Facebook bandit strikes again. Bargain hunters lose. Snail warning, pests out of control could become health hazard. And woman kidnapped during interview. Those are some, but most of the stories, of course, are related to the horrible situation regarding the death of Lisa Morris Julian and her children yesterday.
So the fire services said there was a water problem, and somebody saying retract that.
The Minister of Public Utilities said that's not true. You should retract the statement.
So they didn't call the Arima Borough Council for water to supplement the situation.
No, what happened is that, just quickly, according to the Minister of Public Utilities, he said there was no water shortage. He gave some information. The Hollis system, which supplies water to Farnfast Street, was ramped up days before, from the 12th. He said at 4:30 a.m., WASA was alerted to the fire on Farnfast Street, and immediate action was taken to divert supply via the Subaru Street booster. He said that another water source, Guanapo water treatment plant, was used as an auxiliary supply, and adjustments in the water pressure in the area occurred prior to the arrival of the TNT fire services. So he's asking for a retraction of what he describes as misleading communication from the Corporate Communications Department of the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Services.
So he's saying the fire services lied.
Basically.
Anyway, we'll see.
No, we won't.
Yeah, it's between Hollis. Yeah, maybe you're right, Wendell. It's between
No, we
Hollis,
won't.
between Hollis and Guanapo that serves that area. Yeah. Anyway, tragedy in Arima is the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian for today. Tragedy in Arima, pain and anguish as beloved MP Lisa Morris Julian and 2 of her children perish in fire, and they're inset photos of the deceased. And the main picture is that of the fire and undertakers taking out one of the bodies. So it's a very sad front page. Kidnapped victim rescued in Mova. That's another subheadline. And I'll just go straight down to the sports pages. Closed door test for York. That's the main headline on the back page. I'm not so sure what they mean by closed door test for York. I'm not so sure what that means, but that's the headline. Of course, Soca Warrior. Oh, I suppose this is what it means. Soca Warriors in Saudi Arabia in closed door friendly. So national coach Dwight York plans to use today's closed door international friendly match with Saudi Arabia at 9:19 a.m. this morning as a stepping stone for his team's first CONCACAF Gold Cup qualifier against Cuba in March. It is his long-term goal, as he told the media yesterday, that although the match didn't happen under ideal circumstances, he plans to use it to get another look at players and for both players and staff to gel. So that's a sense of what that story is about. And that's it for the front and the back of The Guardian.
Let's move to the news there now. First Peoples mourn Lisa Morris Julian. Man shot and wounded in Guanapo. Human skeletal remains found in Narromine. Colleagues mourn MP Lisa Morris Julian. Political scientist Morris Julian's death will not trigger by-election. Dad and toddlers drowning. It was a tragic accident. Police rescue kidnapped victim in Mova. And grandmother warns gunmen who killed the Diego Martin man, your time will come. Those are trending stories in your three major dailies for today, Tuesday, the 17th of December, 2024.
All right. Well, let's get the results of our morning poll where we asked you yesterday, are you feeling the Christmas spirit as yet? That was our poll yesterday. 91% said no.
Well, yesterday we certainly didn't have it. I can tell you that because the news came just before.
All right, so let's get into this this morning's poll, and it's up on your screen already. All right, so our poll this morning. Do you believe there was an adequate water supply for the fire services in Arima yesterday morning? All right, that's our poll. Do you believe there was an adequate water supply for the fire services in Arima yesterday morning? Yes or no?
That's a good poll too, Andre. That's also, maybe we could act it later in the week, you know, because I'm sure an investigation is taking place as we speak, you know, because I was hearing some stories yesterday that just very disturbing.
Well, a full investigation is on the way.
Yeah, it's on the way. Yeah, that's how
by both the fire services and the police service. So,
yeah. So WhatsApp 3181021. Yes or no? We'd love to know where you're messaging us from. You can call us at 222-8255. Those in North America, US and Canada. Toll-free number for you, 866-525-1099. Good morning, caller.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
And all on the chat. My condolences to the Morris Julian family, Lord. You know what I learned from
we're doing Diego Martin, we're doing the poll right now.
Doing a poll?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
So let me ask you, what do you think? Do you believe there was an adequate water supply for the fire services in Arima yesterday morning?
Well, they said no. I go in by what they said, so I will have to say no.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Diego Martin. We'll open them
Well, the fire services said no. The Ministry of Public Utilities said yes. So that's why the question is posed this morning.
Yeah. DL says no to the poll. Michael Gradison says no. Boy Badesi out in Davie says no. Admiring Conch Shell. No.
Somebody switch on.
think this is Captain Ron. Yeah, is in Orlando saying no. Good morning, GNC Auto Security. Good morning, David Nelson. All right. Let's see. Boy Badesi. Catherine Henry says no. John Cato says no. CJ New York says no. Julia S. Batiste says no.
I'll tell you something though. When that fire truck first came there, based on the video, that place was blazing already. Well alive. You understand?
Yeah.
I don't know any among the water could have saved that place at that point in time.
That video that Paul showed, that thing was a place.
It was
Which is why the quicker you can get to a fire, the better.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where the story lies. How fast they got there.
Yeah. Because they're saying 11 minutes.
And some other people saying 30 minutes.
Well, what I heard online, I don't know who is right.
11 minutes is even a long time burning, eh?
Yeah. It's a long time.
Yeah.
Wayne Joseph in Ontario, Canada says no. Rennie Devine says no. Michael Robinson out in Yokohama, Japan says no. Morning, Michael. Cheryl Henry says no. Miss Ingrid out in Tucson, Arizona via WhatsApp says no to the poll. Lorna, morning, Lorna. Carly, Indy, morning to you all. No.
If we put ourselves in a similar position, there's a good chance if something happens at your home, you're gonna try to out it yourself first, you know. You understand? You're not gonna think about calling fire services right away.
But it depends on what if it wakes you up. Or if you find it in a really advanced state, I don't think you're going to try to out it yourself. Like if you see the ceiling engulfed, you're going to try to out it yourself.
Right. No, well, if you see ceiling engulfed, that's a different.
But that's what I mean. You said it. You generally, it depends on the state you see the fire.
Well, where it starts, you'll try to out it first. Yeah?
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, gentlemen. Sandy Grandy, may their soul rest in peace. My answer is no.
Thank you, Grandy. Let's see. Val says no. Miss Ingrid says this does not happen in the U.S. Okay. Let's see. Trini Get Fit says yes. Cohen Duke.
Fires happen everywhere. I mean, we
talk about the response time.
Right.
Roger Seawing says no. Let's see. Cohen Lester Creek. Okay. Lester Creek well is saying check out the trucks now stationed in San Juan and Four Roads. Okay.
What is there to check out with them? Fire services have plenty. They've had issues for a long, long time. You understand? And this discussion always comes up when there's a tragedy in a fire. Always. Because fire services run out almost on a daily basis out in bushfires and so on. You know? But we won't hear anything about it. You understand? But once there's tragedy involved, the debate starts on water, on response time, on how much trucks they have, on what the facilities they have. It's a never-ending story that just, I don't know, Trinidad, Lord.
Yeah. Of course, next hour we will chat with Mr. Ashton Ford, former mayor of Rima.
Well, Ashton will be emotional, so I might want to sit out of that interview.
But he's done so many interviews now.
Yeah, he's done a few. Morning.
He seems to be the only person people are interviewing.
Yeah.
We couldn't. Why we can't give the current mayor, Baliram Maharaj? Why we don't try for the current mayor himself, Baliram Maharaj?
Ashton
was a mayor when Lisa was a baby.
You want the mayor to get up 2 mornings early straight, won't you?
Yeah, man. Let me talk to the current mayor. Because he's the man in charge of Arima. Ashton can't do nothing.
He's in charge of Arima?
Yes, he's the mayor of Arima.
So that make him in charge, okay?
Yes.
Learning.
And in some countries and in some states, for example, in some countries and including the United States and including, I think, the UK for at least rented properties, you must have smoke detectors in bedrooms and stuff like that. And of course, there is no law in Trinidad and Tobago concerning those kinds of issues. So maybe we need to start looking at laws that make it mandatory, initially maybe for rented properties, but certainly for private residences, that you have smoke detectors and stuff as part of your, especially as so many residential areas are now being built out. In terms of modernizing those kinds of laws, as we have a legislator among us.
What's the other smoke
Guys, gotta go to news,
thing that they have too is mono something. I'll get the name, but when you go abroad, you buy them. You see them in Walmart all the time. I pick up regularly.
All right, let's continue next hour. Let's get into our major news. Just after 7 o'clock, 1 minute after 7. Evie is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
Tributes, condolences, and love from various quarters sent to the family of former MP Lisa Morris Julian. TTPS confirms investigation has been launched into the tragedy. Fire services defend response time to the fire. Chief cites inadequate water supply as part of the problem. Meanwhile, Public Utilities Minister Marvin Gonzalez fires back that there were no water supply issues, calls on the fire services to withdraw claim. Details in a moment. I'm Avril Sindel-Bava. It is a time for news on Power 102 Digital. Good morning. Tributes continue to come in on the life, accomplishments, and impact former government minister Lisa Morris Julian had on the public, the parliament, and other aspects of her life. The former Derby O'Meara member of parliament died along with her two children, aged 25 and 6 years old, in a fire which took place early on Monday morning at her Farfron Street Arima home. An update from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service confirmed an investigation has been launched into the fire. Senior Superintendent Maynard Wilson said fire tenders and police personnel responded to reports of a fire at the residence after 6 o'clock on Monday morning.
Northern Division Police, supported by Northern Division fire officers, are investigating a devastating house fire that tragically claimed the lives of a Member of Parliament, Lisa Morris Julian, her two children, aged 25 and 6, at their family home this morning. Fire and police personnel responded to a report of fire at Farfron Street, Arima, around 6:15 a.m.
Senior Superintendent Wilson said Morris Julian's husband, Daniel Julian, along with other relatives, was also injured in the fire and is receiving medical attention.
The fire have also left her husband and two other relatives who were present in the home at the time of the incident injured. The injured individuals were transported to the hospital where they are receiving medical treatment for their injuries. At this time, their condition remains under assessment. Fire prevention officers are working to determine the probable cause of blaze, which resulted in significant destruction to the dwelling house. Further updates will be provided as information becomes available.
Former Arima Mayor and General Secretary of the PNM, Ashton Ford, spoke with members of the media on Monday. Ford said they await the probe to be completed to get the facts surrounding the incident.
We were here since morning is that the fire involved Lisa and her baby boy, 6-year-old, and the sister. And the husband was badly damaged, injured rather, and he's hospitalized. And apart from that, we wait for the investigations to determine what caused the fire. Because from what we gather, she was on her way running out of the house and the roof collapsed on her. But we don't know anything else. What caused the fire and the consequences after, we don't know.
He recalled memorable moments of the life and accomplishments of Mrs. Morris Julian.
It's very, very difficult because, it's a strange thing. Up to Saturday, we were at the Prime Minister's Christmas get-together, and she was telling a friend, when I was mayor, she was in primary school. and it's strange that after so many years, and I knew her grandfather and I served on the council together, and he came after me as mayor, and she was always a student, a diligent teacher as that, and she was always involved because she was also playwright. I don't know if you all know that. She used to write plays and things. So she had a personal life outside of politics. She was a well-rounded individual.
Pressed about concerns that fire officers had failed to respond in a timely manner, Ford claimed that he had no clue about the response except that they were not there on time, which is something to be investigated. Ford echoed similar concerns raised by residents living close by who believe the three could have been saved had the fire authorities acted faster and quicker. In a release yesterday, however, the corporate communications unit of the TNT Fire Service sought to clarify the misinformation circulating in the public domain. It said, quote, at the time of the incident, the TTFS received the emergency call. However, the nearest fire station in Arima was engaged in an industrial fire, and the Tunapuna fire station was simultaneously responding to another house fire. Both crews arrived at the Farfan Street house fire as quickly as possible and worked diligently to extinguish the fire. Upon arrival, a request was made for additional water supply due to a lack of water in the area, end quote. Meanwhile, Public Utilities Minister Marvin Gonzalez is refuting that there was a water shortage in the area during the fire. Gonzalez, in a press statement on Monday night, said he wanted to clarify that at no point during the incident was there a lack of water pressure or the availability of water in general. The facts, he said, are as follows. The Hollis system, which supplies water to Farfan Street, was ramped up to full production several days prior on the 12th December 2024, and due to improvements in the Hollis reservoir, the production of the facility was then increased again on the 15th of December, thus confirming the area had a reliable supply. At 4:30 a.m., the Water and Sewage Authority was alerted to a fire within the heart of Arima along Farfan Street. Immediate action was taken to divert supply via the Sobrero Street booster to increase the pressure in the Farfan Street area. Another water source of the Guanapo water treatment plant was used as an auxiliary supply via the valving operations in the vicinity of Hearty Foods and Sozano Streets at approximately 5:30 a.m. to ensure that an alternate supply could be introduced into the area if required. The adjustments in the water supply pressure to the area occurred prior to the arrival of the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Services. Further to this, Gonzalez said Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, upon arrival to the scene of the tragic event, inquired of the chief fire officer about the water supply available to attend to the fire. The chief fire officer confirmed that an adequate supply was indeed available. The Minister of Public Utilities said that he condemns the gross and unfortunate misrepresentation of the facts in this tragic incident and the added grief it has caused. The minister further demanded a retraction of the misleading communication by the Corporate Communications Department of the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Services. You are listening to news on Power 102 Digital to 7 o'clock. Zahir Khan, who was abducted from his home in Valsain on December 14th, 2024, has been rescued. This followed what has been described as strategic intelligence-based operations by the police, which unfolded in the early hours yesterday following a late-night meeting held by Commissioner of Police Earl Haywood Christopher and Deputy Commissioner Suzette Martin and Junior Benjamin and ACP Richard Smith on Sunday. The exercise was conducted in a remote hilly area off Granado Street, Caledonia, also known as Egypt, where officers conducted a search of abandoned structures. Around 5:20 a.m., they were alerted by faint cries emanating from a wooden galvanized structure in the area. On checking, Mr. Khan was discovered alive and well. Mr. Khan was taken for medical attention and was later reunited with his family. The suspects have so far been able to elude capture, but officers remain steadfast in their efforts to capture the perpetrators. Police recovered an AK-47 rifle with 12 7.62 rounds of ammunition abandoned by one of the suspects while fleeing the scene. The media was provided with an update from Commissioner Haywood Christopher during an interview on Monday.
I will admit he was rescued, but we will give us official statement a little later. No suspects apprehended. I don't want to use the word imminent, but yes, we have suspects and investigations are continuing. We have the capability and the capacity, right? We just continue to ask for the support of the country.
Finally, here's weather news for the period today till midnight. Trinidad and Tobago, fair to partly cloudy with occasional light to moderate showers and a low to medium chance of the heavier shower or thunderstorm developing in a few areas. Similar nighttime conditions can be expected. In the event of a heavier shower or thunderstorm, gusty winds and street flooding can occur. You can expect a temperature high of 31 degrees Celsius, both at Piarco International Airport and Crown Point in Tobago. Currently, it is 25 degrees Celsius at both localities. Recapping your headlines to 7 o'clock, tributes, condolences, and love from various quarters sent to the family of former MP Lisa Morris-Julian. TTPS confirms investigation has been launched into the tragedy. Fire services defend response time to the fire. They say inadequate water supply was part of the problem. Meanwhile, Public Utilities Minister fires back that there were no water supply issues and calls on the fire services to withdraw the claim. I'm Avril St-Hill-Bob. That was news at 7 o'clock on Power 102 Digital. Look out for more news in detail at 12 noon today and an update at 8 o'clock this morning. For more details, log on to power102fm.com.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
All righty. Thank you so much, Avril, for major news. You could join her again. Come at 8 o'clock for our news brief. All right. Let's see what's happening in traffic wise. Just volume. Getting to Port of Spain, you're going to pick it up by Barataria and going through Trin City towards UE is where you got your heavy spots this morning. All right. Let's see if we have any more votes. Let's see. We do. Shimo Paul says no. Beauty Culture says no. And that's it. Let me see. Check WhatsApp. I got somebody else saying no. Okay.
Well, my sources at the fire services says there was enough water. Because you know that there's that well, I don't know if it's a distribution point at the very top of the bus route. When you come all the way up to the top. What street is that? Subaru Street? By the Malabar RC school there. They always have water, you know. I always see trucks leaving there filled with water, going to wherever they're dropping off and so on. So I don't know where this is coming from. Again, I think it's an issue of the response time. I don't think it was a water issue that day. Well, I don't know, but I don't think so. But I suspect it was more the response time.
But then the fire services said there was a water problem.
But I'm not so sure if they actually said so. Maybe we should find the article that says that they said so.
Yes.
What did the fire services statement say? It didn't indicate that.
Yes.
I don't know if fire services issued an official statement.
Yes,
maybe
they
a
did.
fire officer said
Yes,
so.
they did.
They did?
Yes.
Okay.
What did the fire services statement say, Paul?
I'm trying to find it.
Why are people calling me on my phone?
Let me see if I had it.
Also, Chris Tuser confirmed it's carbon monoxide alarms that they sell. In any Walmart you go or Lowe's or wherever, I buy them all the time. I've used them. Sometimes they annoy the hell out of you because sometimes just so they go off, you know. But yeah, smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, it's a must in some places in the United States.
But look at there is a release from the fire services, but you sent it, Wendell.
Wait.
Upon arrival, a request was made for additional water supply due to a lack of water in the area.
Indicated there was a water issue.
There was a lack of water in the area. That they're very clear that there was a lack of water.
Right, yes. It says upon arrival, a request was made for additional water supply due to a lack of water in the area. But there's nothing new for Arima to have a lack of water.
So that's why they said they sought the assistance of the Arima Borough Council in terms of getting, I suppose, one of their water trucks there or something like that. I don't know what it was. But in that area where Lisa is, that Farfa Street area may have fire hydrants, eh? Because remember, that's a commercial district too.
But
So
there's a huge car wash too in that area.
So I'm not so sure if there may be maybe a fire hydrant in that area. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But the fire services themselves are saying there was a lack of water supply.
Yeah, I saw.
It can't be clearer than that. That's what they
That
say.
is why the minister asked for the statement to be retracted. He says it's a misrepresentation of the circumstances. That's why, as we said, we quoted the fire services release first, and then the minister responded by saying that was a misrepresentation of the circumstances because he outlined the various opportunities for water.
Yeah. All right, let's welcome our guest this morning, Mr. Ashton Ford. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Morning.
You and your listeners.
You have to give Ashton all his titles, you know. Former mayor, former MP,
we don't have all
former
that
general secretary. You have to give him all his titles, you know.
Welcome, Ashton. Of course, we have Paul Richards, Wendell, and Richard.
Good morning, my friends.
Good morning.
Good to you, Richard. You know?
Condolences, first of all, on the tragic loss of MP Lisa Morris Julian. I know you would have been close to her and the family, and certainly the national community and the PNM family are in deep mourning at this time. And thank you for joining us this morning. You first of all, how did this affect you?
On the radio. Well, very, very badly. As a matter of fact, I had a difficult time with the bed last night. It was really rough. I flashed across my mind on my way to the scene without even reaching the scene. I flashed across my mind when she was a kid in primary school with Gloria Lutama and others. I was mayor for him at the time. And it just came back to me. You know, and it was very, very difficult to compose myself. When I arrived on the scene, the Prime Minister was there before me. And Mr. Beckers who called me. And it was very, very tragic. I don't know how to explain it, but it was bad feeling. Very bad feeling.
There's a conflict of information about water supply. The fire service is putting out a release about inadequate supply, and the Ministry of Public Utilities saying that's not so. What's the information you have?
Well, we know the area always suffered for water. Police used to complain a lot about that. But in fairness to the minister, he has always responded and always indicated that because of REMA, in age of a REMA, you could imagine the old pipes and all these sort of things. There's a lot of development work to take place there in the heart of a REMA. So I would not be surprised if there was a low pressure or no water. I would not be surprised.
And what of this is there the fire services release also indicated that the Arima fire service was responding to an industrial fire and the Tunapuna to a residential fire. Did you hear of any other fire in Arima yesterday morning that may have been engaging the attention?
That is a big surprise because if you respond to Lisa Morris fire, they say we went to the fire on Fafan Street. But there you're responding to a so-called industrial fire, we don't know where. They never said where. Is it Omer Road? Is it in Tumpuna side on Lower Tumpuna Road? They did not indicate which industrial fire they were responding to. We are at a loss. So I don't know what is the real reason, but because Wendell and Richard will know Arima very well. Green Street is parallel to Fafan Street. So you could stay from the fire station and see the fire.
Yep.
I don't know how it is that they came late. I don't know.
What was the response time that you heard? The fire service is saying 11 minutes, which is still long, but I guess it depends on if they were actually engaged in another fire. What is the response time you heard within which they got to the Fafa Street fire?
When I was there, the people said they took a little while. They didn't give me time, but it took a little while. And we saw the firemen there, the fire services and everything. But I'm coming back to the point. It did not say where the industrial fire was taking place. If you know Arima again, Omer Road, there's a whole industrial estate. And if you go lower off the highway in Tumpuna, there's another industrial area down there. So we don't know exactly where the fire took place when it comes to industrial. Maybe the nearest industrial estate to Arima is Trinity and Tunapuna on the highway. So they did not indicate that either. So I don't know where they are talking about.
I know there are some industrial places south of Tumpuna Road heading towards San Rafael. Because
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know if it's down because some of what you heard in Arima was that they were somewhere in the San Rafael area or something like that is what you heard. But nothing is clear. You're right, it's not clear. That's not clear where they were talking about.
If you read the statement there, you'll see it's not clear.
Yeah.
And it's very disturbing because, given the fact that that house on Farfan Street is we describe as a historical house, because the great-grandparents who lived there, the original owners of the house, and Leroy and his brothers, Jimmy and others, grew up there, Perry, and they grew up there on Farfan Street. And then Raymond, which is Lisa's father, grew up there as well. And now Lisa is occupying the house. So it is a house that is well known to, if you're an Arimian, just as a dial, you would know that house to Farfan Street. So, so there would have been some age. So the fire could have been easily, spread because of the structure and the material.
It's a wooden roof, isn't it? It's a wooden roof, right? And I think it's the roof they say that collapsed, or no?
Yes. That's what I said.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Saturday, Lisa and I were together, and we were to meet yesterday morning to work out some strategies because the council not functioning properly, so we had to meet and to discuss that. And
which council are you talking about, Ashton?
Arima Council, Arima Borough Council.
Why is it not functioning properly?
They're not functioning, they're just not delivering.
Why is that?
Well, they have to. That is what we want to ask them. Because I was serving as
but aren't you the former mayor? Isn't there a substantial mayor in seat now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was the advisor there, and the amount of things that were not taking place, I had to resign from the position and call in the two MPs to deal with the situation. And Ms. Beckles had a meeting with them recently. So it is bad, but I'm not going there now because it's a situation that we have to deal with. Not me, again, but it is to be dealt with. And that is what we were supposed to meet yesterday.
Mr. Ford, Mrs. Morris Trillian was the former Arima mayor and also the current MP for W. What is the magnitude of loss for that entire double community?
It's very, very good because she was young. She was a young person coming through the ranks, so to speak, as a councillor, Arima Central, and then as mayor, deputy mayor, and mayor, and end up as MP and minister in the Ministry of Education. No other MP, few people have that kind of credentials. I serve as a councillor, mayor. I never served as a deputy mayor. And others, Mr. Bellamy is similar. He served as a councillor, deputy mayor, and MP, but never served as a minister. So that we have that in Arima where people serve through the ranks. But in Lisa's case, she started young, from the classroom straight to be a councillor, and ended up as a minister. And only recently she was taking part in debate moves and dealing with bullying in schools. And she made a wonderful presentation. She was the first to respond to the presenter of the motion, and she did well. And I must say that she has developed over the years because in preparing her as a councillor and mayor and so on, I did a lot of work with her, to show the research, how to get the information and stick with the facts because it is a lesson we got from the Eric Williams Party School. You stick with the facts and you cannot go wrong. Don't express opinion too often. You have opinion, but not to present opinion as fact. And that is where politicians get involved, trouble. So we train her. I train her. Stick with the facts. You can't go wrong. And you can't go forward. Amen. Wendell,
I don't know what's making all that noise. Well,
Wendell, and you know
yes,
this very well.
yes. Of course, I know Lisa very well. I mean, I would have campaigned on several occasions with Lisa. Lisa's been at my home, you know. So I mean, it's just yesterday was extremely painful for me in particular, but for everybody, Ashton, it was extremely painful to hear how Lisa passed away. It was
Ashton
it
Ford,
was
what is Lisa Morris Julian's legacy?
Her legacy is in both in field of education and in representation of the people. Because remember, when she was a teacher, she was also involved in community work. She was a playwright. She was among top playwriters and so on. She did some plays. She was also attached to the CXC as an examiner. So she was all wrong. She was a rounded individual. She will be remembered as a human being who put people first and assisted people. Sometimes she don't even see. I will call her and give her information about someone to help. She will help the person, and she will not even see the person. She will send people to make sure everything is all right, especially similar situations like that, fire and death. She will help in funeral and so on. And in some cases, most cases, people with their children for work, with their qualifications, and they can't get a job, she would go out of her way to ensure that the person is occupied, get employed. So she will be remembered as a people's person, you know, and which is good for a politician, and especially if she in Arima, the community of Arima. There's no other way. Once you are a representative, you must be a people's person. Otherwise, you don't fit it. Because
Do you have any information on her husband or the rest of her family?
The husband is resting in Mount Hope. I did not get any update this morning. Although after yesterday, they said 27% burn. He was injured in the fire. And he was at the River General, and then he went on to Mount Hope, and he's resting there now. And I know one of the things I am going to recommend is, because of her role in education, is that a RIMA a library be built in a modern library. You see where they occupy now is an old rum shop. They renovated and put it into a library. So we had to move that away. We always objected to that. And then they always say, Arima have a library. Arima don't have a library. What we need is a modern, up-to-date library. Because of the history of Arima, you have to cater for the museum, you have to cater for culture, and you have to cater for the history of Arima. And then you will have a true library in Arima. What we have now is just a place upstairs, a old rum shop. So I am very disturbed about that, and she will not be around. If we do get it, we should name that library after Lisa Morris.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have any opposition to that at all.
I don't think you have any opposition there at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you see, look at we discussed many things. We talked about Richard and Raymond from Arima, Raymond Chukam. They started off in the town hall, and then they had to go in Polo, Spain. We never really see them in the full-blown professional capacity. We never see John Thomas perform. He's an Arimian.
Yep.
Bunty Garland, this gospel singer, gardener, billions of people on his Facebook, and we can't see them perform because we have no venue. And it's shameful. Just as Larry Gomes. Larry Gomes is back.
Yeah, but Ashton, you started off by talking about where we went with this question was about what's happening with the Arima Borough Council. What of the Arima mayor? Has there been a
he's up
mistake
next.
made? We have been speaking with the Arima mayor after?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then I won't ask Ashton anything then.
Yeah.
If we're going to be speaking with the Arima.
Yeah, well, you see, let's talk about Lisa now because I don't want to get vexed this morning. So,
all right.
Yeah, and you see, what the point I'm making is Lisa was fighting for all these things, and we have them because she was making a contribution. There's a ground, I don't know if any of you know it, in Malabar area called India Ground. It has a turf, it has light, and that's it. And she wanted to develop that into a proper sporting arena because it's close to the stadium, and the stadium is controlled by the sports company. The lights are not working. Aberdeen athletes cannot train, and we are the number one track and field club in Trinidad and Tobago, having produced 19 Olympians, and we can't get the stadium to train. So we wanted to develop the adjoining ground. So the adjoining ground for the athletes to train, and the borough is not in charge of the stadium. But if they develop the India ground, the borough would be in charge because the velodrome had a 6-lane track, but that is outdated. It's now 8 lanes, and they cannot have an 8-lane in the velodrome because of the football field. And Keith LeCroy and they are making noise to bring back football because we used to have international football there. And then the Larry Gomes enclosure, the cricket enclosure, don't have a pavilion. So there's a lot of work to be done in Arima.
But the Larry Gomes Stadium but Ashton, the Larry Gomes Stadium is in a state of real disrepair and dilapidation.
Yeah. Yes. When you launched the book there, I spoke there. And I talked about it. And I thank Larry for coming back and opening the eyes of the authorities. But still nothing happened because Arimians don't protest. They don't burn tires. They don't make noise and all kind of thing. And they just take advantage. Just take advantage of Arimians. That is all.
But we're going to be speaking with the Arima mayor very soon, and we will find out what his plans are. Maybe he have all these grand plans for Arima. We don't know. We'll find out.
No. Pronouncement is one thing, but reality is something else. And the reality is they had meetings about traffic in January, nothing happened. They had meetings about the development of the sporting arena and the move motion to name the pavilion after Sunil Narai, nothing happened. So there are several things that are there, as you say, but nothing is happening. They're not pursuing anything.
Well, we're going to wake up the Arima mayor in a short while.
Ashton, thank you so much.
I'm sure Richard has lots of questions.
Right. I have none.
Yes.
I have plenty.
I have been hearing about Richard and you and Richard are talking about Arima. Well, you're welcome to Arima in Wendell, but Richard is really an Arimian.
Yeah, he's Jarim. Yeah, it's in his blood. I understand now.
Okay, my friend.
All right, take care. All the best to you.
Bye-bye.
But it is being confirmed that there was a fire in Arima and in La Hoqueta. And the call went out as a commercial fire, but when they went there, it was actually a shed. And then they had to head back to Farfan Street. So they did attend to a fire. Arima did respond to a fire in La Hoqueta. But it was a shed.
Well, if this wasn't so tragic, that is almost farcical what you're saying there.
Yes.
Let's welcome the mayor for Arima, the Honorable His Worship Baliram Miraj. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning and welcome to the Paul Breakfast Show. Paul Richards, Wendell Stephen, and Richard Ragoobarsingh.
Richard and Paul, especially Richard, the blood of Arima. It is a tragedy. But sometimes you ask the Lord, why? Why Lisa? Why two little children? And you just have to work along with the work of God. Lisa Morris, Julian, came from a family which was born Armenians. And she's definitely jarring. Her grandfather was Leroy Morris, a former mayor of Arima. This means Lisa came with politics within her blood and as an early age. She was a counselor, then became, I think, sometime in 13 and 15, deputy mayor, and later on, sometime in 2020, she was asked to contest the Tabadi Arima constituency.
Mira.
She won convincingly. She was always a people's person and worked a constituency well. We also had a good relation as it relates to her constituency. And believe it or not, when I came as the mayor of Arima, politics was really new to me. And as a granddaughter, I used to call her granddaughter. I mean, Leroy Morris was the grandfather, Arima was the father, and a children. And even when we checked the back yesterday, Lisa Morris came from fifth, the children will be 5 or 6 generation of the blood of Arima, the Morris family. Right? I even believe that, no, not I believe, uncle, Jimmy Morris, was a counselor. So they all know about, and one thing they know is about the P&M. They had also not only politics, but they were P&M in the blood. And if it wasn't for Lisa Morris, I didn't know where to start this challenge they call the mayor of Arima, because you come from a business background for over 65 years. And every move I make, any decision I have to make, she was at my side to guide me how to do it. Politics and business is 2 different things. And
well, we know that for sure. Mayor Maraj, did you say that you were new when you became mayor of Arima? You were new to politics?
Of course, politics, I mean, I don't want to move this morning from this strategy because, you know, I could answer that question after. But, you know...
Well, we would have spoken to former Mayor Ashton Ford just before you. So we get a sense that a lot of things, plans are in place for Arima that but are not being implemented. How would you respond to that?
Well, if Ashton Ford could say that, he is a seasoned politician. Unfortunately, we didn't have a little more of Ashton on this. And the thing with Ashton, he is a PNM and a born PNM, and he will die a PNM. I think he born in the Balaji house, but not sure.
So you're not a born PNM too?
Of course. How you be a woman, I think I don't be a PNM.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And get the long girls. To be a PNM and get girls long time, you have to link with the PNM. There's a children. When we went to down with Sagaramas and the convention, both Ashton and all they going down in the bar is the little country girls are looking to talk and get them all talk. So
Mr. Mayor, was there water issue that we made yesterday morning?
What's the question there?
Was there water issue at the site of the fire?
Well, you know when you're wearing a hat like this, but in fairness, it's sad. But, you know, we move away from Lisa. But I think as mayor, permit me, gentlemen, I will go turning the water and that. But before I move away, let me say from my family and myself, my heartfelt thoughts and prayers are with Lisa Morris and her 2 children. May their soul rest in peace. My deepest condolences with her surviving children and husband. I wish fast recovery. This is a challenging time for them. I ask the Lord, why give them the strength to cope with these terrible challenges? This is a sad, tragic day, not only for the people of Arima. She was a minister and she was so well known throughout the country. And it seemed that CARICOM, the Prime Minister May from Barbados, sent her condolences. She was a grandmother, a mother, a sister.
And that's what we're trying to find out, Mayor Maraj, if in the information you have, if the response to the fire was adequate. Was there, in your opinion or in your knowledge, a water supply issue at the site of the fire yesterday?
Members of the media, you're dealing with a man here with 66 years experience. You call me and Lisa Morris, I will finish that. Let my heart, I am going to cry if I have to cry. Let's talk, Lisa Morris. I'll answer your question, sir. If you permit me, you call me, I offer you to talk. You will get the answer. I will elaborate on it just now. But I don't want to say things that will kind of raise questions. But it will be interesting to hear. And I'll tell you why. My brother lost the top of his house. We lost Ati Foods. And I'll draw some parallels. But just give me that right to give the respect to a granddaughter of Arima, Lisa Morris. I'm almost there. Please,
Absolutely.
Please, let me just finish the topic that you all called me for. Yes, as a citizen in the name of Trinidad and Tobago, I will try to make it that I will not say things. I will talk about a reality. So I will probably just say that let's wish this family who going through this challenge strength and help in overcoming the situation. So I will now close with this as our sister. And you see, gentlemen, and the only thing I console myself and could inform the family is that like birth come with death, all of us came with a purpose. I am trying to tell you how I can console the people. And Baliram Maharaj, it come with a death, birth come with death. There's a purpose in life. And my faith tell me, when your purpose finish, you have to go. Jesus call you back to his kingdom, and he have a bigger work for her. So I will end with that, and let's hope with peace and health, she have heavenly peace, and may her soul rest in peace. No.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much for your tribute to a wonderful soul.
Right.
Mayor, do you know if there was a water problem? Do you know if there was a water problem in Arima yesterday?
It is, well, there's something, water problem in Arima will always be there. But there was a representative with a water truck there when I came. So, gentlemen, I will tell you something. Let me go back to Hearty Food Fire. When that truck come in 2015, it took about 45 minutes. There was a little sparking in the fridge inside, you could have seen it was water problem. They didn't have tools. The hose was leaking and everything. I wrote letters to the authority, at least gave the people some hammer and sledgehammer to break down the wall. You're talking business now and I'm talking reality. Then sometime last year, the top of my brother's house was banging to me, fire. By the time they come, it was no fire when you're there with a little spark again. for the truck to reach here was a problem, was water problem. But we got the water truck. And they had to break some glass in the back. A big stone. They don't have the tools. I hope I'm not trying to say things are talking reality.
But Mayor, does your answer, Mayor Maraj, does your answer lead to a yes or no? Was there water problems in Arima yesterday? You went back to Hearty Foods 10 years ago and so on, right? And your brother's house and so on. Is it that you're identifying that we have a water problem in Arima?
I will only tell you the truth. You see, it was easier to tell me that I'm not in a mood today. But don't try to force me. It will take 100 journalists to do that, to say that. I'm not going to say it. I told you I saw a water truck there, and don't try to put words in my mouth. I'm
not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to get an answer. We're just trying to get an answer from you.
I wasn't there. When I reached, I saw a water truck. And I used parallel of what is going on, gentlemen, instead of trying to put words in people's mouth to get them in trouble.
So the information you have thus far, Mayor, forget about what you saw or what you experienced. The information you have gathered thus far, does it indicate that there was a water problem in Arima yesterday? Yes or no?
The question and the answer that, I know the fellow in charge of WASA. I asked him when I came, I said, boy, I see here. He said, I'm prepared long before they had the water truck there before the brigade. They had water before the truck come. So that's what I could. I don't know
so
what
there was not a water problem.
They had a water truck. I talked to this WASA supervisor, and he told me he was here waiting. And listen carefully, the common factor is water. The gentleman told me when I hear water truck reach before the fire brigade. So what is the summary of that? It couldn't have a water problem.
Right.
I don't know what is it. It had water waiting for them in a truck, and the fire brigade didn't come yet.
Okay. Was the house burnt at the point in time? Was the fire raging at that point in time when you were there?
When I went, it was under control.
Okay.
Under control. At this time, a loss in life. Don't let me go there. Let somebody answer that question.
You're the mayor of Arima, sir.
I am the
mayor of Arima.
Listen, I will talk the truth and nothing else but the truth. And we must all learn to be very responsible in your statement.
Right. And that's all we ask. That's all we ask.
Yeah, but
it's the truth.
The water problem. But understand, when I spoke to the supervisor, the water truck, he said, was there waiting for the fire brigade. So the question you asked, was there a water problem? How could we have a water problem when a water truck was there? So the answer is no.
Right. So we're satisfied. No, well, we're satisfied with that answer. We are satisfied with that answer, Mayor. No problem.
But you know, your most important thing for the interests of Trinidad and Tobago, you don't want to hear about that. And you all have to be careful. You have to be responsible people too, man.
No, but Mayor, we do want to hear about that. That's why we are asking you.
Yeah, but hold on, sir. You know the deeper thing, we lost 3 lives. I lost at the foods. I lost the brother house. But listen to what I tell you for 1 minute. Those vehicles need to get equipment. Oh God, only pay attention to a man who have 65 years of experience. They didn't have a hatchet. They did to break down that house, to break the wall. They didn't have an axe. They are begging on bended knees, gentlemen. Let me spread the gospel. All the vehicles need to get proper equipment. That is not a responsibility. So we wouldn't have no people lost their lives and fire again. They don't have the vehicle. They don't have proper equipment. And the hoses are leaking. I am telling you that, but you're asking me about a water problem. How could it have a water problem if there's a water truck there? But listen to me and let me tell the public, put down our hands and go on bended knees and let them check every fire truck in here. See if they have axe. See if they have sledgehammer. save the thing to cut the thing and save lives, gentlemen. Let's be responsible in our statement.
Well, Mayor, we are on the same page with this, because we have discussed this ad nauseum over years and years and years on this Power Breakfast show concerning the equipment, concerning fire services. We have discussed this extensively on the show. And this show we have been very close to Lisa Morris Julian personally and publicly. We have been very close, so there's no doubt about that. What we're trying to get out of you is as mayor of Arima, because you are mayor of Arima at the end of the day, right? We want to find out what are your plans for Arima. How are you addressing these issues?
But I just tell you, let us finish with Elisa. We finish it. And I was to go back to Hardy Foods. I had to go back to my brother's house. The trucks, we don't want a recurrence of life loss, and every one life loss is too much.
Agreed.
I want you all there to be very responsible. We must put on we head, go and take placard and get them trucks with proper equipment. That is what
you're suggesting that we do a placard protest about the trucks, Mayor?
Well, I told you horses 37 years ago. My father died in a Arima hospital in 1984. I said, not a word. When you went in there, it had fleas. No medicine, nothing. A placard, 37 years, a placard, one man on the side of the road, every first Monday in the month. But we get the hospital. I didn't have fire. I bought no tires. I didn't block no traffic. If Baliraman can get a hospital for Arima, state of the art. And don't we feel I will come in a placard too. We need to get proper equipment for the fire trucks to avoid people lost in fire, the building, and lives. One life is too much. And all I'm trying to tell you, let's get down to the point. Let's be very reasonable with our state and let it be a reality. If that with that water there, is that we need to get a survey done with all the fire services truck to see at least a sledgehammer. But if that a sledgehammer, we'd break up the wall and we make it a safety chair. Could have saved some people.
Yeah. Well, I get your point, Your Worship. That the issue of I think what we need probably is an audit of the fire services of Trinidad and Tobago and what kind of equipment that is required in terms of mitigating the loss of life in any fire situation in Trinidad and Tobago. The aim of the fire services of Trinidad and Tobago, I think, needs to be that no life should be lost to a fire in Trinidad and Tobago. And correspondingly, whatever equipment that they are required, the state should provide.
Well, gentlemen, can we continue that discussion and that line? I love that. This is all I'm saying. Why we will talk about it. In 1 week we forget. We lost lives. My brother lost the top of his out. I'm telling you all something. When they had to break a glass, the two men holding a stone and breaking the glass. So what you're saying is what I'm saying. And that is what you call responsible statement in favor of Trinidad and Tobago and saving lives. We need to get an audit. I love how we say it. To get a look at every fire truck in Trinidad and get that. We will lose lives, we will lose buildings again. So this is what I am saying.
Yeah, but I mean, Your Worship, time is upon us at this point, so we'd love to thank you for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show this morning. We valued your time and taking the time to speak with us.
Well, just do me one favor, continue what call for the audit at every fire truck and let us get something. And that mightn't cost $1 million.
But aren't you in the best position to do so as Mayor of Arima?
Well, when you come from the business space, every word you say as the mayor hat is mixed up. So when you have on the mayor hat, you can't say something. So when you have business people, and I hear one of the voices came from you, from the wilderness. And look what you said, the most responsible thing I ever hear since the fire for 15 to now, get an audit. Let me go from every fire station, check the hose, check if they have sledgehammer to break wall, check to see if they have axe. They don't have axe, they don't have equipment, on bended knees. The mayor for Rima, January, I'm going to be 83 years. I want all you to get that audit. Say something responsible. Don't say something just to make one government look bad, the other one look good. Say something that is a reality for Trinidad and Tobago. Get an audit done in every fire station. And let's see if we could save lives and save billions. May God bless you all. May God bless Trinidad and Tobago. And may God bless Lisa's entire family. And let him give her the willpower to overcome this tragedy, God. Jesus, help us. Help this radio station to be very responsible.
Thank you, Your
God
Worship.
bless all of you.
Thank
God
you.
bless Trinidad.
Thank you, Mayor Maraj.
Thank you.
That, of course, was Mayor,
Okay.
His Worship, the Mayor of Arima, Alderman Baliram Maharaj. You heard it right here on the Power Breakfast Show. If you've never heard it anywhere else before, you heard it on this show.
All right, so we are going into Wednesday and midweek tomorrow, and of course it's time to wrap up the program this morning. So have a
1 week from today, it'll be Christmas Eve.
Have a fantastic day, whatever you do. Remember to smile and laugh.
Are you good, we? Are you real good?
But we are the best. We are the best.
Whoop, Papa. Yes. Well, yes.
He's 83 in January coming, huh?
I see he reminded us.
Mm-hmm.
And his brother's house was burnt 10 years ago, as he reminded us.
No, Hearty Food was 10 years ago.
Hearty Food, sorry, yes. Several times he reminded us.
Yeah.
All right.
You'll have a good day.
We will have.
I need to go back to bed now after that.
Folks, have an absolutely wonderful day. Remember to let go and let God.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Do have a great day. Be safe in all that you do. As I said a little while ago, it's 8 days to Christmas. 1 week from today would be Christmas Eve. I'm just saying. Christmas Eve. All right. So keep it locked on us before he comes in. Let me see if we have any issues traffic-wise to tell you about. No, this City Central Road is quite heavy this morning. And you got some traffic there heading towards Orange Grove. And then get into the Port of Spain pretty much after Barataria is where you're going to get it. All right. Let's get into 8 o'clock news brief. And then I'll play some music for you. AV is in.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
This is your news update to 8 o'clock. I'm Avril Sindel-Bab. Good morning. As investigations continue into the cause of yesterday's blaze, which claimed the lives of Dabadi Umera MP Lisa Morris Julian and two of her children in Arima, the public wants fire officials to account for their response, as they believe the tragedy could have been avoided. Responding to the concerns, the Corporate Communications Unit of the TNT Fire Service said at the time of the incident, the TTFS received the emergency call. However, the nearest fire station in Arima was engaged in an industrial fire, and the Tunapuna fire station was simultaneously responding to another house fire. It also said upon arrival, a request was made for additional water supply due to a lack of water in the area. Meanwhile, Public Utilities Minister Marvin Gonzalez is refuting that there was a water shortage in the area during the fire. Gonzalez, in a press statement on Monday night, said he wanted to clarify that at no point during the incident was there a lack of water supply or availability of water in general. Former Arima Mayor and General Secretary of the PNM, Ashton Ford, said that a lot of development work has to be conducted in Arima, so he would not be surprised if there was an inadequate water supply to respond to the fire yesterday. He told the Power Breakfast Show this morning that he was unaware of any other fire in Arima on Monday morning that the fire services would have responded to. However, he added that the fire services did not say where the they responded to were located. He said that Lisa's husband, Daniel Julian, was resting at hospital with 27% burns about his body. He remembered Lisa fondly saying that she was always willing to help those in need, even if she never met the person. He said that she would always be remembered as a people's person. Also a guest on the Power Breakfast Show this morning, Arima Mayor Baliram Maharaj said Lisa had politics in her blood. He said that when he became mayor, he was new to politics. However, Lisa Morris Julian was by his side with every decision that he had to make as mayor, and he always appreciated her greatly. Asked whether there was an issue with water in Arima yesterday, he did not respond directly. Instead, he offered condolences to Lisa's family. Ultimately, however, he said that there had been issues with a lack of tools being given to the fire services to fight fires. He also revealed that he saw a water truck at the scene of the fire when he arrived yesterday. The mayor disclosed that he saw a WASA rep who told him that he was ready before the fire services even arrived, which in itself would suggest that there was no issue with the water supply in Arima yesterday. Well, that was your update to 8 o'clock. Look out for news in full at 12 noon. I'm Afril Centil Bab. Good morning.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.